Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us today. I am NIN Desai, and I will be your host. Let's start with my background. I started my professional career at Merrill Lynch with their private client group. At Merrill, we manage portfolios of high net worth individuals. While it was great to trade stocks and bonds, I was always curious about how these companies went public. Thus, after business school, I joined Pacific Crest Securities. PCS is a tech-focused investment bank with global presence focused on software, communications, semiconductors, and internet and digital media. Here are a few transactions I worked on at PCS. In 2005, IPOs were at the peak, and it was amazing to take all these companies public. But that led to another question. How do VCs know what companies to invest in and which ones to take public? Thus, I joined Alpha Capital Partners. Alpha is a generalist fund with about 135 million of assets under management. My most recent transaction at Alpha was Circon, a software as a service provider company. During my time at Alpha, I realized how inefficient the fundraising process was, not necessarily at Alpha, but in general. And right around that time, the Jobs Act came into effect. The Jumpstart Our Business Act was signed into law by President Obama on April 5, 2012 to promote entrepreneurship, create jobs, and in return, boost the American economy. NIN Ventures is one of the first funds that has offered its membership interest under the Jobs Act and Regulation D of the U.S. Securities Act of 1933. The offering is being made viable via general solicitation, general advertising, which is permitted under the Rule 506C by Title II of the Jobs Act. This rule came into effect September 23rd, and we were the first ones to go live with a website and videos about our fund. NIN Ventures also became the first venture fund to be seen on a billboard, which was followed by in-taxi ads and other social media facilitated marketing. Recently, Wealth and Finance International magazine awarded us as the best technology venture capital fund in Illinois for the Alternative Investment Awards 2015 and the best technology venture capital fund in US for 2015 Fund Awards. Now a little bit about the fund. What will NIN Ventures Technology Fund invest in? The fund will invest in Series A and B rounds of disruptive technology companies and write checks anywhere from 1 to 5 million based on the industry, sector, and stage. So what is disruptive technology? A disruptive technology is an innovation that changes an existing industry and also helps create a new market and value network, displacing an earlier technology or a way of doing business. Every sector at some point is up for disruption. We're currently focused on virtual reality, financial services technology, education software, internet and digital media, mobile communications, cloud computing, 3D printing, and other path-breaking sectors within the United States. With the goal to invest in the next big trends within these sectors. For example, 3D printing or personalized medicine. 3D printing has been used for rapid prototyping and is being applied in a number of industries today, including manufacturing, automotive, consumer, aerospace, defense, and especially healthcare. As the accuracy and material markets have improved, the medical space shows great potential for this technology, and one of the reasons for us interested in 3D printing in the medical space, or how we like to term it as personalized medicine. However, the basic question is why venture capital and what is our strategy? Our strategy is to invest in early to growth stage of these disruptive technology companies. If you notice, from 2002 to 2012, technology investments have dominated the venture capital industry. And the highest amount of venture capital funding occurred in the early to expansion stage companies. If you notice, from 2002 to 2011, sector-focused funds have outperformed generalist funds. And technology sector has outperformed the rest of the U.S. venture capital index. This is probably the most important slide in this deck. With early and expansion stage companies yielding the highest returns. Thus, NIN Ventures will invest in path-breaking, early-to-growth stage disruptive technology companies, will not only provide adequate financing, but will lend our domain expertise and network of partners to help companies with recruitment, PR and marketing, and a viable exit strategy. The strength of our team, the value of our network, and our funding model that's designed to reduce management costs creates this unique investment offering. Not only that, we bring a fresh vision to technology investing. Another important question is, why venture capital? When you can invest in other asset classes, historically, if you look at U.S. Venture Capital Index and S&P 500, you will notice U.S. Venture Capital Index tends to outperform S&P 500. And not only that, they have an inverse relationship. So what does that mean? For example, your traditional portfolio consists of 70% stocks, 20% bonds, 10% money market investment. With the addition of venture capital, your portfolio can now be 60% stocks, 20% bonds, 10% money market, and 10% venture capital investment. The addition of venture capital will not only help you diversify your investment, it will help you mitigate the risk given the inverse correlation between S&P 500 and U.S. Venture Capital Index. Take example of Harvard and Yale. They are the biggest and the best performing endowment funds today. Their long-term approach and investment in alternatives like venture capital allowed them to achieve true diversification and mitigate that risk involved in having only a stock and bond portfolio. With NIN.VC, you too can invest like Harvard and Yale. So who can invest in the fund? One must be an accredited investor and verify themselves as an accredited investor before they can invest with us. An accredited investor is an individual with an income of more than $200,000 per year, or a joint income of $300,000 in each of the last 2 years, or has a net worth exceeding $1 million either individually or jointly with his or her spouse. For an entity, total assets in excess of $5 million qualifies. There are multiple ways to verify if you are an accredited investor. For an individual, it's income, asset, and third-party verification. For entity, it's asset and third-party verification. Prudential is our most preferred third-party verification method with a simple and confidential process at a click of the button. There are multiple ways of investing in ventures, using your checking account, using a defined benefit plan, self-directed IRA, and digital currencies like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin. Now let's go through the investment process step by step in detail. The very first step is to sign up on NIN.VC. Sign up is as simple as providing your first name, last name, email, and acknowledging the fact that you are an accredited investor. Once you sign up, you get access to our marketing materials like the private placement memorandum, investor presentation, and other suggested readings. We highly recommend that you go through all of these if you're a first-time venture fund investor. You get invited to attend our events and calls like this one. You can schedule a one-on-one meeting with us via Skype or at our offices. Once you decide to make an investment, accept the risk and disclosure statement that will explain what venture capital investment is. The next step is to verify accreditation, and I would highly recommend using the third-party verification credentials, which would make life easier for everyone, and it all happens at a click of a button, and it's completely free for an investor. Once that is in order, it's only a matter of filling out a subscription document and selecting a payment method. There are multiple options of investing using your checking, savings, or you can pay via Snap card if you're using a digital currency. Please note that venture capital is a high-risk, high-reward investment vehicle, and we strongly recommend reviewing our other suggested reading on our website before making any investment decisions. On that note, we're open to questions. Please type your questions in the chat box, and we'll make sure we'll answer them all. The very first question, are there any disruptive technology companies in Chicago? Innovation does not bar geography, and I believe while Chicago is not the hub or it's not the Silicon Valley, it is getting a lot of momentum, and I personally have been visiting a lot of incubators, accelerators within the universities and elsewhere to meet and talk to entrepreneurs. So I personally don't think Chicago is not a good place for technology firms to be. However, having said that, as a fund, we invest all over United States. We have not limited ourselves to Chicago alone. So I think if your question is about promoting Illinois for technology, yes, the firm is promoting and making that effort. At the same time, as a manager, as a fund manager, my fiduciary duty is to invest in the best possible deals, and those deals can happen anywhere in the United States. How can I schedule one-on-one meetings? Like I mentioned before, you can either schedule a one-on-one meeting on nin.vc, or you're more than welcome to shoot us an email at contact@nin.vc or 312-953-0930, and one of our associates would be more than happy to schedule one for you guys. Any other questions? Once again, thank you for being on the call, and thank you for your time and interest. Sign up on nin.vc to begin your investment process now. Feel free to reach us at contact@nin.vc or 312-953-0930 to schedule one-on-one meetings, or if you have any other questions and material requests. Have a wonderful day and happy investing.